The wind on the rooftop cuts through Evelyn Evans's silk dress like a blade. New York glows under her feet, cold and distant, a million windows staring back without pity. Aria Carter's fingers dig into her shoulders. Evelyn can smell her stepsister's perfume, the same sweet scent she once borrowed for fun. Tonight it makes her want to choke. Do not blame us, Evelyn. Aria whispers at her ear, voice soft and sticky. You are the one who refuses to move. You cling to the Evans name like it belongs to you alone. Cole loves me. The Evans empire should be mine. Cole Davis stands a few steps away, hands in his pockets like this is just another meeting. His suit is perfect, his hair neat, his eyes flat and cold. You were convenient. Cole says. Your father needed Davis capital. I needed Evans access. That is all. Evelyn laughs, rough and broken. You said you loved me. She whispers. You promised to protect me. Aria scoffs and pushes harder, pinning Evelyn against the metal rail. You believed that? You cannot even protect yourself. Cole grabs Evelyn's jaw, forcing her to look up at him. Consider this a mercy. He murmurs. You were never built for this world. Mercy. The word tastes like poison. If there is any second chance. Evelyn spits. I will make you pay. I will tear down everything you love. I will destroy you. Aria and Cole share a look, then smile. Then come back and haunt us. Aria purrs. Their hands vanish from her body. For one heartbeat Evelyn is still standing. Then the world drops away. Cold air punches her lungs. The city rushes up in a whirl of glass and light. She cannot scream. There is only weightless terror, and a hatred so bright it burns her vision white. Impact is a flash that shreds everything. Miss Evelyn, please, wake up. The voice drags her out of the dark. Evelyn gasps and bolts upright, clutching at her chest. No broken ribs. No shredded dress. No blood. She is in her bedroom. The walls are soft pink. Her canopy bed is piled with stuffed animals she packed away years ago. Her ballet posters are not yet faded. The air smells like peonies and perfume, not asphalt and exhaust. Grace, her maid, hovers at the bedside with wide eyes. You were thrashing in your sleep, she says. I thought you were having a nightmare. Evelyn grabs her wrist. What day is it? She rasps. What year? Grace stares. It is Friday, March 17th, 2010. You're sweet 16, miss. Did you hit your head? 16. The number hits harder than the pavement ever did. The rooftop, the betrayal, the years of slow ruin, her father's death, the lonely hospital bed, all rewind in her head, scenes tearing backward until they stop right here. The night before her sweet 16 gala. The night Aria first showed her teeth. Evelyn stumbles out of bed and rushes to the vanity. The girl in the mirror is younger. Softer cheeks, longer hair, eyes wide with shock. But behind the shock there is something new, something that does not belong in a 16-year-old face. Cold clarity. Grace wrings her hands. Should I call the family doctor? She asks. You look like you saw a ghost. I did. Evelyn whispers. Mine. She remembers everything. The gala dress Aria ruined with red wine on purpose. Cole stepping in to comfort Aria and scold Evelyn. The whispers that followed. The way Melissa, her stepmother, used every stumble to paint Evelyn as spoiled and unstable. The slow erosion of trust, of control, of inheritance. The rooftop. She should be dead. Instead she is standing barefoot on her bedroom rug, heart pounding, blood hot in her veins. I got another chance, she says under her breath. The words feel dangerous, holy, unreal. I am back. Grace mistakes her dazed look for teenage nerves. Your father expects you downstairs in an hour, she says gently. Everyone will be watching tonight. You will do fine. Everyone will be watching. In the first life, they watched her fall. In this one, they will watch her rise. Thank you, Grace. Evelyn says. Her voice steadies. I am fine now. It was just a bad dream. Grace leaves with a worried look. The door clicks shut. Evelyn stares at her reflection. Her hands curl into fists on the vanity table. In the mirror, the girl staring back at her lifts her chin. Aria Carter. Cole Davis. She breathes, letting their names burn on her tongue. You threw me off a building once. This time I am the one who pushes. Outside, the Evans mansion hums with party preparations. Staff move tables. Florists carry in boxes of roses. Somewhere downstairs, Melissa is rehearsing the perfect hostess smile, and Aria is probably twirling in a mirror, dreaming of stealing Evelyn's life. They all think the script will play out the same way. They do not know the main character remembers the ending. Evelyn turns away from the mirror, opens her closet, and pulls out the white gown waiting there. The silk is smooth under her fingers, heavy with expectation. She will wear it. She will smile. She will let the world see the perfect heiress. And beneath the satin and pearls, she will sharpen her knives. This time the fall belongs to them. By nightfall the Evans estate looks like a palace. Chandeliers burn, strings of lights glow over manicured lawns. A red carpet runs down the marble steps for New York's elite. Evelyn descends the main staircase on her father's arm. Richard Evans stands tall in his tuxedo, proud and tired all at once. Cameras flash as they pause halfway down for the society photographer. "You look beautiful, kiddo," he murmurs. "Just like your mother." The word mother squeezes her chest, but the ache is softer than the rage burning under it. "Thank you, Dad," she says. At the bottom of the stairs, Melissa waits in a dark green gown, smile polished. Beside her stands Arya in a dress that makes Evelyn's lips curl. It is almost the same as Evelyn's gown. Same cut, same silhouette, cheaper fabric. A shadow copy. Guests pour in. Old money matrons, their diamonds blazing. Young heirs in sleek suits. Journalists with fake smiles. Everyone wants a piece of the Evans' future. Evelyn moves through them like she did once before, but this time she is not drifting. She is watching, listening, taking mental notes of who flatters Melissa too hard, who laughs too loudly at Cole's lazy jokes. This is the moment the old script tried to humiliate her. She spots Arya near the bar, a glass of red wine in hand, eyes shining with fake nerves. Right on schedule. Arya floats toward her, weaving through the crowd. She glances down at her own skirt, then at Evelyn's, then at the cluster of cameras nearby. She nudges a passing waiter, accidentally, knocking his elbow so his tray tilts. Red wine sloshes. Arya pretends to stumble toward Evelyn. In the old life Evelyn froze and got drenched. In this one she pivots. She steps sideways with dancer's grace, lifting her skirt clear. The wine misses her completely and crashes over Arya's bodice instead, blooming like blood on cheap satin. The entire ballroom goes quiet. For a heartbeat Arya just stands there, eyes wide, crimson soaking into pale pink. Then her lower lip quivers. "I am so sorry," she breathes, voice breaking on cue. "I did not mean to, I swear. Evelyn, please do not be mad." In the old script, sympathy rushed to Arya. Evelyn had cried, easy to paint as spoiled. Now Evelyn smiles, sugar sweet. She takes a linen napkin from a tray and dabs at Arya's shoulder like a caring sister. "Of course you did not mean it," she says, loud enough for everyone. "You just forgot that cheaper fabric stains so quickly. The real dress is treated to resist spills. Papa had them do that for me." She smooths her own gown, and heads turn. Side by side, the difference is obvious. The cut of the seams. The way Evelyn's silk catches the light compared to Arya's imitation. A few guests murmur. Someone near the back actually snorts. Arya's face flushes, the stain on her dress mirrored in her cheeks. "I just wanted us to look like a real family," she whispers, eyes filling. "You could have asked our father to order you one too," Evelyn says mildly. "I am sure he would have considered it, but I suppose copies are faster." The word copies lands like a slap. Melissa's fingers tighten on her champagne flute. Richard's brows draw together. He is not blind. He has just been too busy to look closely. Evelyn can feel his gaze shifting, refocusing. Cole arrives then, his tux impeccable, hair sleek, expression thunderous. He puts an arm around Arya like a shield. "Evelyn, that was uncalled for," he says. "It was an accident." "Of course," she agrees. "And I am not angry. I am simply pointing out the difference between original and knockoff. That matters in business, does it not, Cole? Or do the Davises not care if their name is on fakes?" People around them blink. Some exchange startled looks. Bringing up business in a dress crisis is not done. Evelyn just did it. Cole's jaw flexes. "This is not the time for jokes. Nor is it the time for lies," she says. "Arya, go change. There should be a second gown upstairs. A different one." Her tone is light. The command under it is not. Arya nods quickly, eyes still shimmering. "Yes, Mr. Evans," she says to Richard. "Mr. Evans, not Dad." The room hears it. The line between blood and marriage, between heir and guest, sharpens. As Arya hurries away, Melissa sweeps after her, shooting Evelyn a look that promises a private war. Evelyn ignores it. She has already seen the end of that war once. She fulfills her hosting duties, poses for photos, laughs when required. Each time she catches a glimpse of herself in a mirror she sees the same thing, a girl in white who used to be bait, now holding strings. Later, she slips out onto the balcony to breathe. The gardens below are a fairy tale of fairy lights and trimmed hedges. The chill air clears her head. You hide well for someone who is the center of the room, a voice says. She turns. Leon Walker leans against a stone pillar, a half-empty glass of sparkling water in his hand. His black suit is precise without being fussy. His eyes are sharp, taking in everything. In her first life she saw him only on screens, in articles. In this one he is standing 10 feet away. Maybe I needed a break from being told how much I have grown, she says. Apparently that is the only thing people can say to a 16-year-old at her own party. He smiles. You did grow, he says. Just not in a way they understand. He pushes off the pillar and offers his hand. Leon Walker, he says. My father is inside discussing something tedious with your father. Evelyn Evans, she replies, shaking his hand. I am the tedious something. His grip is firm, his palm warm. His gaze flicks to the ballroom behind her, then back. I doubt that, he says. Rumor says you throw very dramatic parties. Rumor also says I am spoiled and stupid, she says calmly. Rumor is lazy. Good, he says. I hate lazy data. The word data hits like a door opening. Evelyn swallows the rush of possible futures and chooses one. Do you also hate lazy investments? She asks. Because I have a proposal that is neither. He lifts a brow. You are 16. And you are 18, she says. Age matters less than who sees what is coming. I see something the Davis family is about to waste your time with. I would rather you look at me first. He studies her, interest clear now. Go on. She does not pull out a full deck. Not here, not tonight, but she sketches the outline. Data centers, green energy, land the Evans family already owns. A quiet shift away from useless towers toward infrastructure that will matter in 10 years. Leon listens without interrupting, gaze sharp. The noise from the ballroom fades into a dull hum. Most heirs flirt with me to get a meeting, he says finally. You are the first to open with infrastructure. Flirting sounds inefficient, she says. This way you know I am serious. He smiles, slow and real. Have your people call my office, he says. Tell them I asked for you. He hands her a business card. It is small and plain, just his name and a number, but it feels heavy in her palm. Enjoy the rest of your party, Ms. Evans, he adds. Try not to drown anyone else in red wine. No promises, she says. As he walks away, she looks back into the ballroom. Arya has returned in a new dress, paler and safer. Cole is at her side, too close, his head bent toward her ear. Melissa watches Evelyn with thin-lipped anger. They think they are recovering control. They do not see that the real shift already happened on a balcony, in the space of one conversation. In the old life, this party began Evelyn's fall. In this one, it quietly starts her ascent. 2 weeks later, Evelyn sits at the end of a conference table that seems too big for a 16-year-old girl. A laptop glows in front of her with charts and bullet points. On the far side of the table, Harris, the Evans chief financial officer, squints at a printed copy of her presentation. Richard watches them both. You did this yourself? Harris asks. The strategy and structure are mine, Evelyn says. The data came from our research team. I checked their numbers twice. The slide behind her shows a map of New York dotted with properties owned by the Evans Group. Empty warehouses, aging office parks, edges of the city everyone else ignores. Everyone is still obsessed with shiny towers downtown, she says. But towers do not move information. They just look pretty in photos. Data centers are boring and vital. So is backup power. We can build both. Harris hesitates. This is a big shift. Not if we start small and scale, she says. We can use land we already own. Lease capacity to companies who want secure storage. Partner with the right name to move faster than our competitors. Richard taps his pen. The right name being the Walker Group. He says. Yes, she says. Leon Walker is already thinking 10 years ahead. The Davis family is still thinking about who gets their name on the tallest lobby. Harris frowns. The Davises have been allies for decades. Allies do not secretly plan to drain you, Evelyn says quietly. Richard's eyes narrow. What are you implying? Nothing I can prove yet. She lies smoothly. Just that they are more interested in controlling us than walking beside us. A project like this would tie us to the future on our own terms. She does not mention the faint memories of articles she read after her death, the ones that praised the Davis and Walker Tower as bold and visionary, until the market shifted and left them overexposed. She keeps that piece of time travel to herself. Harris flips through the projections again. The risk is not as bad as I expected, he admits. And the potential return is impressive. Richard looks at his daughter, really looks, as if seeing past the polished hair and the diamond earrings to the person under the role. Why now, Evelyn? He asks. You could have brought this to me in 5 years. In 5 years it will be too late, she says. Others will have moved. The Walker Group will have picked a partner. It will not be us. And we will be politely pushed aside. He holds her gaze. You sound like you have already seen it happen. In my head I have run that tape 100 times, she says softly. I do not like the ending. Silence stretches, then Richard nods once. Set up a meeting, he tells Harris. Informal, no lawyers yet. After the meeting, Evelyn ducks into an empty office and calls the number on Leon's card. He answers on the second ring. Leon Walker. It is Evelyn Evans, she says. I hope I am calling at a good time. For opportunity? He says. Always. They schedule a private discussion at his office. She goes alone, refusing the car Richard offers, and taking one of the family sedans instead. It is a small rebellion, but it matters. She wants to arrive as a person, not just a daughter with a driver. The Walker Building lobby is glass and steel, modern without being showy. Security sends her up. Leon meets her at the elevator, jacket off, shirt sleeves rolled. You really came yourself, he says. Impressive. You asked to see how I think, she says. Not how my father does. He leads her into a conference room with a view so clean it makes her Evans windows look old. They sit at a small round table, not at the huge formal one, and she lays out her plan. She keeps it tighter than the version she gave Harris. Less explanation, more impact. Leon asks hard questions. She answers them without flinching. When she finishes, he leans back, fingers steepled. You are not asking for funding, he says. You are offering a partnership. Favors vanish, she says. Contracts do not. Sometimes they do, he says. But point taken. He taps the table. If we do this, the Walkers will want equal control. You know that. We can share control on the new entity, she says. The Evans family keeps full control of the land and infrastructure on our side. You handle global expansion. We both bring something the other cannot replace. He studies her in silence, then nods slowly. I like it, he says. I like the speed. I like that the Davises will cry. She does not let herself smile too much. They will come to you with a tower proposal soon, she says. It will sound glamorous. It will not age well. You seem very sure, he says. I am sure of their priorities, she replies. They care more about parties than servers. He laughs once. Harsh, accurate, she says. He stands and offers his hand. All right, Ms. Evans, he says. Bring me a signed letter of intent from your father, and I will take this to my board. Quietly. We will not say a word until we are ready. She shakes his hand. You will have it this week. As she leaves, her phone buzzes with a text from Arya. Arya, Cole is being weird. Do you think he is upset about something? Beneath that is a selfie Arya took in Evelyn's bathroom, holding one of Evelyn's lipsticks, pouting at the mirror. Evelyn types a reply. Evelyn, he is probably stressed about work. Be sweet. He likes it when you act soft. She hits send and pockets the phone. Let them think she is not paying attention. Let them believe she is still blind. While they practice their lines in the old script, she is already writing the new ending. At night, when the house is quiet, she pulls out a notebook and makes a list. Stop Arya's first public humiliation plot. Done. Secure Walker partnership before Davis proposal. In progress. Gather proof of betrayal. Not yet. She underlines the last item. In her old life she only had suspicions. This time she wants evidence. She calls a law firm that owes the Evans family a favor and asks for a recommendation. A week later she meets a private investigator in a quiet coffee shop away from uptown eyes. He is ordinary looking in a way that makes him easy to forget. Perfect. I need discreet surveillance on 3 people, she says. My stepmother, my stepsister, my fiancé. He raises a brow. That is a heavy list. They are heavier problems, she says. I want you to follow the money and the meetings. I will pay in cash. He hesitates only a moment before nodding. Money and curiosity are powerful. As she walks back to the car, her phone buzzes again. Cole, dinner tomorrow at my place. We need to talk. In the old life, that phrase meant flowers and apologies and deeper hooks. Now Evelyn looks at the message and sees a future liar trying to keep his pawn close. Evelyn Shore. I have a few things to say too. She smiles at her reflection in the car window. The city glints behind her like a chessboard. They think she is still a piece. She is the one moving them now. Cole's penthouse smells like expensive cologne and the faint edge of whiskey. The view is sweeping, the furniture flawless, the atmosphere carefully casual. Evelyn sits on the couch, legs crossed at the ankle, a glass of sparkling water in her hand. Cole paces in front of the windows, tie loosened, frustration simmering. You blindsided us, he says finally. You and your father, going to the Walkers like that. The Evans group went to the Walkers. She corrects. Our name is on the buildings. It is our right. We were planning a joint project. He snaps. My father has been talking to Leon's people for months. And in all that time did you ever mention it to me? She asks. To your future wife? He hesitates a fraction of a second too long. I did not want to jinx it. Of course, she says. You just wanted to quietly attach our resources to your tower and present it as a done deal. His jaw tightens. You are being paranoid. She sets her glass down. No, Cole. I am being awake. He stops pacing, looks at her. What happened to you, Evelyn? He asks. You used to trust me. I trusted a mask, she says. That was my mistake. He laughs, humorless. Is this about Arya? Because if you are still upset about the party, you need to let it go. She adores you. She cries when she thinks you are mad. When she cries, you hold her. Evelyn says quietly. Color drains from his face, then comes back in a flush. You are imagining things. Am I? She asks. I saw you on the terrace at the fundraiser last week. Her lipstick was smudged. Your tie was crooked. You are careless when you get what you want. He steps closer, eyes hard. You are jealous, he says. It is not a good look. I am evaluating my investments, she says. You are underperforming. He shakes his head. We are engaged, Evelyn. Our families are linked. You cannot just pull out because you had a few bad dreams about betrayal. She freezes. The word dreams slices close to the bone. You think this is about nightmares? She says. This is about reality. My reality, not yours. He waves a hand. You are 16. You do not know what you are giving up. I know exactly what I am giving up, she says. A man who sees me as leverage. Parents-in-law who see me as a convenient womb. A lifetime of standing beside you while you thank me for my sacrifice in speeches. He stares. You rehearsed that, he says. She smiles without warmth. I had time. The conversation ends without a clean break. It is too early for that. She leaves with a kiss on the cheek and a promise to calm down, giving him enough comfort to keep his guard down a little longer. Back at the Evans estate, a different confrontation waits. Melissa summons her to the private sitting room on Sunday afternoon. The room smells like floral tea and expensive wax. Your behavior has become a problem, Melissa says, not wasting time. She sits ramrod straight, Arya at her side, hands folded like a schoolgirl. Evelyn takes the armchair opposite them. Good afternoon to you too, she says. You humiliated your sister at your party, Melissa says. You are undermining your fiancé's family and business. You are feeding your father ideas he is not ready for. Father seems quite capable of deciding what he is ready for, Evelyn says. He is the one signing the papers. Arya leans forward, eyes wet. Evelyn, please, she says. We used to be so close. You have been so cold lately. I do not know what I did wrong. You exist, Evelyn says, almost gently. That was never your fault. What you choose to do with that existence is. I have done nothing but try to fit in. Arya protests. I bend over backward to respect you. I never complain when people forget I am not really an Evans. You complain to Cole, Evelyn says. You cry to him about how hard it is, about how I do not appreciate you. You let him wipe your tears with hands that are supposed to be mine. Arya's mouth opens, closes. Melissa pales. You have no proof, Melissa says sharply. Not yet, Evelyn says. But I will. Melissa narrows her eyes. You are sick, she says. Paranoid. This is what comes from too much pressure on a child. You should be thinking about college, not hostile takeovers. You are right, Evelyn says. I am a child who owns the future of this house. That must be very annoying for you. The mask slips. For a second Melissa's polite face twists. You think you will win because you have his blood? She hisses. Blood is not everything. Influence matters. I have spent years making this family look good. You could not handle one season without me. I handled dying, Evelyn says calmly. Twice, If you count the way you plan to strip my company, I will handle you. Melissa blinks, thrown by the word dying. Evelyn does not explain. Later that week, the private investigator's first report arrives in an unmarked envelope. Evelyn reads it alone in her room. Bank transfers from a shell company linked to the Davises into Melissa's account. A photo of Melissa and Cole in a discreet restaurant, heads close together, expressions tight. Phone records showing late-night calls between Cole and Arya on days Evelyn remembers falling asleep alone. Her stomach clenches, but the pain is cleaner than it was in the old life. Then she had doubted herself. Now she has proof. She slides the report into a file folder and locks it in a safe behind a false panel in her closet. Evidence, she thinks, turning the key. Not just anger. Outside her window, the city glows. Somewhere out there, people are already talking about the Evans-Walker partnership, about the young heiress who pushed it through. They have no idea what else she is planning. She sits at her desk and opens her notebook again. Get proof. Done, but more is better. Protect father. In progress. Pick the stage. Not decided. She taps the pen against the page. They threw her off a building in private last time. This time, their fall will be very public. The Evans Gala is the kind of event society pages live for. The invitations are cream and gold. The dress code is black tie. The gossip is already thick hours before it starts. Rumor says Richard Evans will announce his succession plan tonight. Some say he will name Cole as future son-in-law and heir by marriage. Others whisper that Evelyn has pushed him in another direction. No one guesses how far that direction goes. Evelyn stands in front of her mirror in a black suit tailored sharp enough to cut. The emerald at her throat glows against her skin. She looks older than 16, not in years, but in weight. Grace dabs at her eyes. Your mother would be so proud, she says for the 100th time. I hope so, Evelyn says softly. I am about to make a lot of enemies. Then they were not worth keeping, Grace says. Downstairs, the ballroom is brighter than ever. Leon stands near the back with several Walker executives, neutral and watchful. Reporters hover near the edges, pretending they are just guests. Melissa has chosen a deep red gown, dramatic and rich. Arya wears something soft and pale, hair curled, eyes shining with the exact mix of awe and humility that used to fool everyone. Cole positions himself between them and the stage, the picture of future power. Richard walks to the microphone first. The room falls quiet. Thank you all for coming, he says. The Evans family has reached a turning point. We recently announced a major partnership that will carry us into the next era. Now it is time to talk about who will lead us there. He gestures to Evelyn. My daughter has proved that she is not only my heir in name, but in vision. Effective immediately, she will take over as acting chief executive officer of the Evans Group. Some people clap at once, others hesitate, then follow. Cameras flash. Someone near the front whistles quietly. Melissa's smile freezes. Arya looks like a porcelain doll with a hairline crack. Evelyn steps up to the microphone. Thank you, she says. Her voice rings clear. I know some of you think I am too young, too inexperienced, too emotional. A few nervous chuckles. You might also think you know my story. She continues. The spoiled heiress. The arranged engagement. The perfect alliance with the Davis family. Cole's posture straightens. He is ready to play his part. But stories change when you see the full script. Evelyn says. Tonight I would like to show you a few scenes you missed. She nods toward the back. The lights dim. A screen behind her flickers on. The first video is grainy but clear enough. A rooftop parking lot. A concrete wall. Cole and Arya pressed together, kissing like there is no one else in the world, his hands on her waist, hers in his hair. The gasp is almost physical. Someone swears softly. Glass shatters against the floor. Turn that off. Cole shouts, scrambling to his feet. Evelyn does not flinch. This is one of several recordings, she says. Taken over months. All while I wore your ring. Arya bursts into tears. Evelyn, please. She sobs. It was a mistake. We were confused. He thought I was you. It was the roof of a budget hotel. Evelyn says. My hair does not smell like cigarette smoke. A few people actually laugh, shocked and uncomfortable. Melissa finds her voice. This is a family matter, she says. You have no right to drag it in front of everyone. On the contrary, Evelyn says. You tried very hard to turn our private business into public control. It is only fair that I return the gesture. The video changes. Audio snippets this time. Melissa's voice, crisp. If we can convince the board that Evelyn is unstable, we can press for shared control. she says on the recording. Once Cole is in, we move assets quietly. Cole again. We drain them slowly. She will never notice. Arya, soft and eager. I can talk to him. He always listens to me. The room feels smaller, the air thicker. People shift, uncomfortable. Some look furious on Evelyn's behalf. Others look calculating, already recalibrating alliances. Richard stares at the screen like someone has ripped skin off an old wound. His hands shake. Evelyn glances at him, then back at the crowd. My stepmother married my father, she says. She sold information to the Davis family. She used my engagement as a tool to bleed us, and planned to push me out as unfit, when it was convenient. Melissa shakes her head, eyes wide. These are lies, she says. Edited. Taken out of context. The forensic team we hired disagrees, Evelyn says. She holds up a flash drive. This contains full recordings, banking records, email chains. It is already in the hands of our lawyers. Of course, you are welcome to argue your case in court. She turns to Cole. As for you, she says, voice dropping, our engagement is over. He laughs, brittle. You cannot break it like that, he says. You need our support. Without the Davis name, you are just another heiress playing CEO. Without our partnership, Leon says from the back, voice lazy and lethal. Your cash flow projections look ugly, Davis. Heads whip toward him. He lifts his glass. We chose the Evans Group, he says. We do not do business with people who plot against their allies. The message is clear. Whatever power Cole thought he had just evaporated. The security team, already briefed, moves forward quietly. Richard finds his voice. Melissa Carter. He says, each word heavy. You are no longer welcome in my home. Our lawyers will be in touch. Arya, you as well. Cole, leave. Arya drops to her knees on the marble floor, hands clasped. Evelyn, please. She cries. Sister, I was wrong. I was jealous. Do not throw me away. I have nowhere to go. Evelyn looks down at her. For a moment she sees a younger Arya, the girl who had knocked on her bedroom door with wide eyes and a shaky smile, saying she felt out of place in this big house. That girl had been real, but somewhere along the way she had chosen ambition over love. You threw me off a building, Evelyn says softly. Twice. Once literally. Once with every lie you spread. I am just returning gravity to you. Arya sobs. We were desperate. She whispers. We wanted a future. You could have built your own, Evelyn says. Instead you tried to steal mine. Security lifts Arya gently but firmly. Melissa insists they will regret this, that lawyers will tear them apart. Cole promises war. No one listens. Cameras capture every word. The doors close behind them with a heavy final sound. Evelyn turns back to the microphone. Her hands are steady. I apologize for the interruption, she says. It seems some of our guests forgot the family motto. We do not stab each other in the back. A ripple of nervous laughter. Tonight was always about the future, she continues. Now it is about a cleaner one. The Evans Group will move forward without parasites. We will honor our partners and our people. We will not be controlled by those who treat us like prey. She looks straight into the nearest camera lens. Consider this our official answer to anyone who thought we would quietly accept betrayal, she says. We will not. The orchestra begins to play again. Conversation slowly resumes, louder now, sharper around the edges. By the time the night ends, half the city has watched the footage on their phones. Some call her cruel, some call her brave. Evelyn goes to bed exhausted, the echoes of gasps and whispers still in her ears. For the first time since she woke up 16 again, she sleeps without falling. The weeks that follow feel like walking through the smoking ruins of a battle and realizing you are still standing. News outlets replay the gala clips on a loop. Talk shows argue about whether Evelyn went too far. Hashtags about her trend for days. Teen girls post edits of her saying, "We will not be pushed off rooftops." Over dramatic music. The Davis Group scrambles. Regulators open investigations. The tower project they hoped to pitch to the Walkers dies in a closed meeting where no one bothers to hide their boredom. Cole loses his title as heir apparent. Official statements talk about a shift in leadership priorities. Unofficial whispers say, too messy, too risky. He sells his penthouse and moves into a smaller place with peeling paint and bad locks. Arya vanishes from the pages. The last Evelyn hears, she is folding sweaters in a chain clothing store, eyes down, name tag crooked. Melissa sells her jewelry and hires lawyers who quietly advise her to settle cheap before she loses everything. Evelyn does not chase updates. She asked for justice, not a front row seat to their slow decline. The knowledge that they cannot touch her or her father anymore is enough. She has other things to watch. The Evans Walker data project breaks ground on the first site by the river. Reporters come to photograph hard hats and shovels in dirt. Evelyn stands between Richard and Leon, helmet hair doing its best, smile real this time. This is only the start, she tells a journalist who asks if she is nervous. We are building the backbone of the next decade. Nervous is less useful than prepared. At the office, she spends long days in meetings, learning which executives actually know their work, and which ones have been coasting on old loyalty. She replaces some, moves others, promotes a few overlooked people who surprise even her. Richard looks younger with each quarter she closes. The lines around his eyes soften. He still worries, still lectures her about not working herself into the ground, but there is relief in his voice now. You were always going to be the one to take over, he tells her one evening. I just thought I had more time to get you ready. You did your best, she says. The rest was on me. Leon becomes a constant presence, sometimes on screen, sometimes in person. They bicker about investment levels, about hiring speed, about whether to expand west before north. You cannot scale everything at once, he says, looking at a map spread across her desk. I can try, she says. You will burn out. Then stand close enough to catch me, she answers without thinking. He goes quiet, then says, I intend to. Their relationship shifts gradually, almost unnoticed until one night it cannot be ignored. They are on the balcony outside her office, the city glowing below like a living circuit board. The data site cranes are visible in the distance now, red lights blinking. You did it, Leon says. You took the fall they wrote for you and handed it back. With interest, she says. He studies her profile. Do you ever regret not taking the easy path? He asks. Marrying into someone else's empire, letting them deal with this stress. She laughs softly. Easy was never really an option, she says. Even when I thought it was, they were sharpening cliffs under the silk. He smiles at the image. Then his face turns serious. You know this partnership is not just business for me, he says. I know, she says. Her heart beats faster, but it is not fear. Not anymore. I am not Cole, he says. If you ever decide you do not want this, you tell me. I will walk away from the relationship, not the contracts. I will not hold our work hostage. Her eyes sting unexpectedly. The simple, blunt promise is more romantic than any poem. Do not walk away, she says. We have too much to build. He steps closer. That a business request? He asks. Or a personal one? Both, she says. He kisses her. It is not practiced or staged. It is simple, grounding, the opposite of rooftop terror. When they break apart, the city is still there, unchanged. She is still Evelyn Evans. She is still CEO. She is also, finally, someone who gets to choose love on her own terms. Months later, on a cool autumn evening, she goes back to the building where she died. Security recognizes her now, not just as an Evans, but as the Evans. The rooftop has been renovated, higher railings, more lights, more cameras. The edge that once felt like an invitation to death is now just a place with a view. Evelyn walks to the spot where Arya's hands shoved her. Her pulse spikes once, a ghost echo of falling, then settles. Leon stands nearby, leaning on the rail. You sure you want to be up here? He asks. Yes, she says. I need to see it. The city spreads out around them, endless and bright. In another life, she says quietly. This is where it ended. For me, for my father, for everything I cared about. They took it all and called it fate. And now? He asks. Now it is just a roof, she says. And I am the one looking down. He comes to stand beside her. You do not owe your pain to anyone, he says. You do not have to forgive to move on. I am not here to forgive, she says. I am here to measure. Measure what? How far I climbed, she says. From the bottom of that fall to here. They stand in silence for a long moment. Finally she turns away from the edge. As they walk back to the door, she glances over her shoulder one last time. The past is still there. The betrayal. The fall. The girl who hit the ground full of hate. But she is not that girl anymore. She is the woman who built something stronger out of the wreckage. The woman who turned a blood-soaked script into a story of her own. Her life is no longer defined by the night she died. It is defined by everything she chose after she opened her eyes again.
Thanks for watching. Follow for more romance stories.